on your point of when is it appropriate to question something like a scientific, when is it appropriate, under what conditions should we question something like a scientific consensus?
It's a good question, it's a complicated one. I'm not saying that most of the time the scientific consensus is right? I mean, you know, the scientific consensus most of the time is right, but it's not always right. I mean, we lived through, remember, we're running out of oil. I mean, the scientific consensus 50 years ago was we're running out of oil. Does anybody in this room think we're running out of oil? I mean, obviously not. The scientific consensus 50 years ago was that the world was overpopulated. And then we were going to have massive overpopulation. You remember, this is the Malthusian thing. This is what all the scientists said. Overpopulation is going to destroy the planet. What's the biggest problem on the planet today? It's not overpopulation. For most countries, it's underpopulation, right? So a lot of these fears have just been wrong, 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 wrong. And one of the things I'd say about, you know, these things that have become scientific consensuses is look at whether the people are saying these things have some kind of motivation to say. You know, in economics, we think incentives matter. Now, there are thousands now of, you know, climate change scientists today. Now, if you were a climate change scientist, do you think you have an incentive to say there's no climate change? I mean, really. I mean, if you do, you think you're going to get a lot of money? You think you're going to get all these National Science Foundation awards and so on? So, look, I'm not saying these people are, you know, are being dishonest. I'm just saying that there are motivations for people to say things. And look, I talk to people in the scientific industry all the time. They are shut down. Literally, their voices are shut down if they take on this kind of consensus. And so, look at people's motivation. I'm not saying that climate change isn't happening. All I'm saying to you is that the solution to climate change is not to shut down our energy sources, right? I mean, energy is the most important resource. If you want to drag the U.S. economy into the gutter, get rid of fossil fuels. Because that, you know, look, we're all adults in this room. We get 75 to 80% of our energy today from either fossil fuels or nuclear energy. Does anybody really think we're going to be able to run a $22 trillion economy with windmills? I mean, come on, really? I mean, you do? Really? Wow. Well, maybe. I mean, by the way, there's all sorts of, I mean, just think about these things. Let's just assume for a minute, and this is kind of an interesting thought experiment. Let's say that we are facing Armageddon, catastrophic climate change in the next 25 years if we don't stop using fossil fuels. Let's just accept that for a moment. That's a truism. It's the gospel truth that that's going to happen. Now, so we can't use oil and gas and coal anymore. What would we do? What would we do to provide the energy source we need to keep the economy going if we couldn't use oil, natural gas, and coal? To me, the solution is pretty obvious, right? You build 100 nuclear power plants, right? And you're done. 100 nuclear power plants and you have enough energy, plenty of energy to produce provide the entire country with cheap and abundant electric power. The alternative would be, let's pave over the entire state of Connecticut with windmills so we can provide enough electricity for Manhattan. And really, from a common sense point of view, which makes more sense? Which do you think?
I'd probably default to like a professor or something.